Hi everybody, Bill here from Tiny House Prepper. Today I want to talk to you about some issues that we had with our heating system and major condensation problems, and then what we're doing hopefully to fix it. First, I think I want to talk to you just about what our heating system was. With the prepper mentality, I really wanted to get a wood stove so that we could have heat no matter what happened to the power. But of course, in this tiny little place, there's just simply no place for it. Because you have to have space around the heater and it would take the whole living room area. So what we finally eventually decided on was this heater, this propane heater down here. This is a ventless heater, so it's 100% efficient. It puts out really hot heat. It really heated this place well. I was concerned about it because, you know, the carbon monoxide, but when I was researching it, I discovered that propane does not put off carbon monoxide when it burns. It puts off water vapor. So I thought, well, you know, that's kind of nice because in the winter usually houses are too dry, and that'll add some humidity to the atmosphere here. Little did I know the problems that would cause, but I'll talk about that in a minute. So this is the heater that we have in the front of the house, in the living room and kitchen is the propane heater. And then in the back we had an electric heater. Let me show you in the bedroom. Come on back. I was concerned that the heat wouldn't get all the way back in here to the bedroom from the front. So we put in this little auxiliary heater. Okay, down here. This is an electric heater, and I got it from a place called eheat.com, and I really like it. There's a thermostat on the wall over there on the other side, but I really like this. It's very efficient. There's some kind of new stacking, they call it triple stacking technology. I don't know what that means, but from customer reviews on the website, it said that the people who replaced their baseboard heaters with this were actually saving as much as 40% on their electric heating bill. So that was good. But also, notice the little space that we have here to go out to our door, to the sunroom. If I put a little standard electric baseboard heater here, it would stick out about twice as far and it had that square corner on it. And there's not much room. We'd both be banging our ankles on there all the time. This is very smooth and slimline. It's only 2 inches, so I put that back here. We really like it. It works really well.
I like the fact that the front stays cool.
Yes.
The only place heat comes out is...
You can touch it here, it stays cool, heat only comes out the front. So I recommend it if you need electric heat. It's at eheat.com is where I got it. Another issue that we had is that the ceiling, the roof, is only 2x3s with metal roof on top of it, which means there's only 2 inches of insulation, and it's fiberglass, so it's probably only R5. So I wanted to try to figure out some way to add additional insulation to the ceiling, because when it's below zero outside and you only have R5 in the ceiling, that's not going to work very well. And also, when we first purchased the place, it had several leaks in the roof, and I was finally able to get them fixed using a rubberized roofing paint that fixed all the leaks. We went through the whole summer without any problems with the roof. And then all of a sudden one day we looked up at the ceiling in the bedroom and there were wet spots all over the ceiling, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. I washed it for about a week and they just kept getting worse. Big wet spots, and they grew and they started to get brown like mold. I couldn't figure out, it couldn't be leaks because it hadn't rained in 2 weeks, and they were all over the ceiling, not just in the couple places where I knew the leaks were. So finally I just got a knife and cut into the ceiling and pulled it down to find out what was going on. Fiberglass insulation up inside was completely soaked, and I couldn't figure out why. And then I took down a little more and I realized condensation on the underside of the metal roof was completely soaking all of the insulation. Why is that? I mean, I know it's R5, it's not enough, but why is that? And it took me about a week to finally realize what the problem is. It was the propane heater that was putting out humidity. And in fact, we have a little thermometer sitting on the desk in there. It shows the temperature and it shows the humidity. And when the propane heater was running, the humidity was around 70 to 80%. So I immediately shut off that propane heater. We went out and we have a couple of little electric plug-in space heaters, and we heated with that. The humidity immediately came down to about 20%. So I realized that propane heater wasn't going to work. So what I did then was I went out and bought another one of these E-heaters to put in the front. Just as well, eventually it'll be our backup heater. I'll show you what I'm talking about. But so I pulled down the whole ceiling and the whole and all of the insulation, and right up to the bare metal underside, and the whole thing was completely soaked from condensation on the underside of the metal. So I realized I was going to have to re-insulate. So I got this insulation board from Home Depot, and this is 2 inches wide. What?
It's Lowe's.
Shh. This is 2 inches wide, and it's actually R10, which doubles the insulation factor that I had in the ceiling, and it'll fit up in there between the 2x3s. So I cut this and I put it up inside, and I just left it there for a while to decide what would happen. And we were sleeping one night, and it was still condensing, and I was waking up with water actually dripping on my face from the ceiling. I couldn't believe it. And I discovered it was because there was a couple of gaps up there that I hadn't filled. So then what I did was I bought, this is R10 at 2 inch. I bought another piece that's 1 inch thick that adds an additional R5, and then I cover the entire ceiling with that, the larger sheets. Can you see? Can you point up here? You see the entire ceiling is covered with this stuff. I just put it up, I screwed it up with these big washers just to hold it in place. I'm going to leave it for a while, and then it's very easy to take it down. Just take the screws out and it'll come down. That way I can check and see if the condensation problem is taken care of.
Yeah, we cannot let it get moldy up there.
Right. And then if it looks like it's going to take care of it and it's going to be dry, then at that point then I'll put Luan back up here, or some kind of wood back up here to cover this. For now this is temporary, but I now have R15 up here instead of R5, which is considerably better.
Yeah.
I'm really happy with it. So here we are headed back out into the living room. So I put a thermostat right here for the other eheat.com heater, which I installed behind our recliners. You can see it right there. And so now we have one at each end, and it seems to heat pretty well. But I'm not happy with that for several reasons. One is because electric heat is the most expensive heat that you can have, and the other is, with my prepper mentality, I don't want to be relying on the grid to give me heat. I've still got that, but I don't want to use it because of the condensation problems, and we don't have anywhere else that I can put a wood heater. But I have seen tiny little wood heaters, wood stoves in other tiny houses, and I wanted to find out where they came from. So I decided I need to find out about these little stoves. When I see a tiny house tour, they just show and they say, and there's the wood stove, and they keep right on going, and they never say what it was or where they got it from or anything. So I did a big search online, and I finally found one company up in Canada that sells a little wood stove, and we're really excited about it. This little thing is about, I think it's 12 inches wide, 11 inches wide, or deep, and about a foot high. There's a guy just standing there, just holding it in his hands, just like this. It's designed, excuse me, it's designed specifically for RVs and sailboats. And it's supposed to heat up to 400 square feet, and you can't put a log in it any longer than 5 3/4 inches long. But when you put a couple of them in there, customer testimonials say that it burns for 2 hours with another 6 to 8 hours of hot coals. So we're really excited about it. We went ahead and ordered it a couple weeks ago, and unfortunately it takes a while. They say 2 to 3 weeks before it ships, and then has to come down from Canada. So I don't know what will be involved with the border crossing, but I'm eagerly awaiting for it to come. When we get it, I'm going to be replacing this, and I'm going to be putting it right there. Now you have to have 2 feet around. It's got a steel base that'll go against the wall, so it can actually be mounted right to the wall safely, but you got to have 2 feet on either side.
20 inches.
Once I have it here, I'm only going to have about a foot, so I'm going to have to put some steel around here to keep it, to make it fireproof. So that then will be our main source of heat, and then the electric heat will be the backup. That way, if we're gone for the weekend and nobody's here to feed the fire, then the electric will take over. That's a good situation, because then we have the wood heat whenever we want it, which would be most of the time, but we're not a slave to the wood stove, and we don't have to worry about the pipes freezing if we leave. But if the power goes down, then we have heat. So my prepper side of me is really happy about that. My tiny house side of me is really happy about finding a tiny little wood stove that's going to go into our tiny house.
And wife is happy because it has a glass front and I get to have a fire to
Right,
look at.
she loves to watch the fire, and it's got a little door with a little glass in it, so we'll be able to see the fire. So once I get it, I will install it, and then of course I will do a review of the wood stove to let you know how it works. And hopefully that's the solution to the heating problem and the condensation problem that we've had. Thank you very much. If you've enjoyed this, please don't forget to like it and subscribe below. Thank you.